On today's episode of Days of Our Lives, Kate makes contact with Paulina, Steve, and John press Tony for information. Jake appeals to Nick's better nature, and the captor of the women is identified. John is attempting to explain why a Demera would steal the orchid to ensure their wife's demise when Steve comes across him at Marlena's grave. Steve says they need to track down the owner. John is aware of the obvious starting point. Tony is holding the newspaper when Anna enters the Demera living room and takes it away. She looks through the rest of the paper because she can't believe Orpheus' death wasn't reported on the front page. As John and Steve arrive, Tony makes fun of her for thinking that Kate spoke to Roman from the afterlife. The men admit that they did not murder Orpheus, rather it was a Demera who killed their wives. They require Tony's assistance in order to learn who it was. Tony wants them to leave since he won't help with their witch hunt. Steve and John won't budge. They will raise the tomb they call home to the ground if Tony doesn't provide a hand. The foursome eliminates EJ, Johnny, and Chad due to their associations with the ladies after searching EJ's room. They talk about Stefan's deplorable history with Abigail, but Anna thinks he's improved since he came back from the grave. John and Steve discover there is one Demera they haven't yet discussed after eliminating the Demeras that don't reside in Salem. There are no longer any live Demeras, say Tony and Anna. Unless they are aware of something the guys. John and Steve exchange a sly glance. Paulina receives coffee from Roman in the Brady pub bar. She entered to ensure that he didn't murder Orpheus. He reassures her that John and Steve didn't experience it after learning that she overheard Anna discussing it. Paulina, who is relieved, claims that Kate wouldn't have preferred it. Because she told him from her urn, Roman is aware of this. After setting the urn on the bar, he goes to attend to a delivery. In the afterlife, a pessimistic. While Kayla gushes over the ambrosia and Marlena enjoys her usual muesli, Kate is holding a martini glass. Kate retorts that Jake had claimed they weren't meant to be there when Kayla advises her to lighten up. Jake might have been a delusion, just like Susan, Jordan, and Adrienne. Kayla and Marlena speculate. If their husbands were successful in killing Orpheus, according to Marlena, they would have a much bigger problem to deal with. They advise Kate to get in touch with Roman once more to inquire. Jake instructs Nick to send the women back to Earth after spotting him playing a violent video game in another location. Nick finds it difficult to say no because he detests and hates Will. As a result, Horton will be sad for the rest of his life about losing his grandmothers and aunt. Besides, Nick notes that by stealing Beau's soul before he was completely dead, Jake and his heavenly team accomplished the same feat. Jake acknowledges that they made a mistake that was fixed. Jake encourages Nick to consider Julie, the only person who actually cared about him and still does. Jake wonders what Julie will say when she reaches heaven and discovers that Nick is still a foul little man there, that she was mistaken and that everyone was correct about him. How will that affect her? Nick, who is visibly upset, tries to maintain his fortitude. Jake implores him to send back the women for Julie. Paulina overhears Kate calling to Roman in the bar while she is by herself. Paulina claims Roman stepped outside as she takes a wary look at the urn. Please leave a message. Kate queries whether Orpheus was slain because she is unsure about her remaining time. He wasn't, Paulina tells her. Kate begins to ask Paulina to inform Roman that they are all still alive at Marlena and Kayla's urging. When their connection breaks, Nick shows up. The women inquire whether they're heading home as Jake follows. Nick reveals that Jake persuaded him to act in accordance with his supposedly superior nature. Although they are returning home, they won't recall their time there. He makes it clear that there is no way of knowing what will transpire when their souls rejoin their bodies. They could die and end up right back there. They're willing to take that risk. Jake opens a door for them to walk through. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, Daily Bulletin News, and stay with us.